Sony is like a wet rat who you flush down the toilet in hopes to get rid of, but they keep swimming their way back up the reverse side of the toilet drain. And although they're welcome in my home, they're wet and furry, and they make little rat babies.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So we're on the Sony A7S III Zeiss 55mm 1.8. Octava mic hidden out of the shot. Although I do believe there's a corner of the damn pole. I hate cheap mic stands, man, that don't go tall enough so it's like angled. It should be up there, up high, and then down. I should get a C stand, but they're hundreds of dollars. So as the camera industry implodes on itself, mainly due to smartphones and just people not caring and having too much of a smartphone hunch neck to notice that cameras exist, nobody likes the old-fashioned times. Where's the wooden benches of our heart? But for us diehards, we like a real camera. No thank you to the fake smartphone stuff. This is real, even though the color science is fake and everything about it is fake as digital. But still, cameras are nice, and some are better than others. And I've noticed that Sony kind of leads the industry. I don't know why Canon's pretending to still be doing that. They're not. You see like a bunch of sports guys on the sideline with their DSLRs, but like in general, they're being replaced, and it's all Sony stuff now. I'm always seeing it at UFC events. It's always the guy with a little Sony, the ZVE1 now, it's out there with a little 16 to 35. Oh. Video is taking over the photo industry. Photos suck. Let's just be real. Imagine two people meeting. Abraham Lincoln, who pretended to free the slaves but really enslaved the entire of humanity, and Donald Trump, the savior of our world. So like they meet together and there's a photo of them, and it's like, oh cool, they met. But imagine a little clip of them, hey man, remember when we had a White House and America was actually a country and not a corporation? Oh my god, I've said too much. So video is more interesting, and Sony just happens to be the best at it. I don't know where they came from. They weren't doing much, and then they buy Minolta, and then like with their lots of money from the PlayStations, because the Dorito eating video game freaks let their mom buy them Christmas gifts, and it was a PlayStation 4. And now they have lots of money, and they researched what Minolta already knew, and now they're leading the industry. And the color science is fugly as fuck. But if you get a color chart and you notice that a robin is juxtapositioned against green foliage, carrying its home in its nest mouth, it wants to visit his friend, but it's raining. He doesn't care, he's waterproof. And Sony knows that. Sony knows to focus on him, despite the rain. I noticed then the cardinal flew to a blue sign, and the juxtaposition was again real for us. The color science, undenied in some cultures. I saw some deals the other day. Sony ZVE1, same exact price as a Fuji X-H2S. And just had me pondering, which would I rather have? They're both doing 4K 120p and HD 240, but Sony doesn't really crop, and their autofocus actually works. And with the dynamic stabe, you could actually use that sometimes. It's full frame. Way better autofocus. It's just better. Fuji's a gimmick. If you have leather pants, put a Fuji in your pocket and move on. I almost had the most magical sparrow footage you've ever seen, but I don't have it. But I do have another cardinal. It's funny because I went out with my friend and it's raining, and he has his Fuji X-H2 with the 70 to 300, and he asked me to hold it for a second when he fixed his junk or something. And then I was like, oh my god, this is so much lighter than my Sony. It is nice. It's nice to have that lightness. But like, what do you really bring to the table? Color science? Nobody really likes Fuji color science. Most people say like purple skin tones, vintage, like not real. It's like a look. It's a gimmicky look, and it's kind of fun at times, but like if you want actual good stuff, you get a real camera. I was annoyed when Sony released the A7S III because it was basically perfect and it ended my search for the perfect camera. And I still pushed on in confusion, saying like, oh, I still need a better camera. Nobody needs a better camera than that. So my feeble, desperate mind looks like maybe there is something better. Nothing is better. So I look at each company like, okay, what are you offering that could beat my Sony A7S III? Oh, nothing. Canon. Nothing. You could have more dynamic range in the C70, that's about it. Probably on par, if not exact. You would notice nothing. Nothing. No difference whatsoever. I notice blues shift towards the cyans in a Canon. It's a one knob thing from Sony to Canon color. Just a one little knob. Instead of spending $7,000. Canon has nothing. And how far are we from getting something like 4K 240? HD 480? HD 360? Panasonic GH6 was close, but come on, man. Manual focus only. Frickin'. I noticed a turtle peeking its head out wondering if something exciting was about to be released in the camera industry, and he noticed that nothing was coming or even close. And so he's going to the bottom of that pond to live out the rest of his days because nothing is going to happen out here. He knows to wait and hibernate another winter even though it's summer. That turtle is dead because you aren't pushing the boundaries. Sony, Canon, Nikon, Olympus, Fuji, Nikon, Panasonic, Blackmagic. Where's our stuff? Where's the GoPro 12 with the 1-inch sensor? Is that coming? No. Just saw the Sony X4000. They're calling it a Venice. That's bullshit. You know what sucks? It takes so long for companies to beat themselves. The A7S III was released, what, 2021? Quote me on it, I dare you. And since then, eventually all their lower end products get similar specs to the A7S III, but when do we beat the A7S III itself? Never. It's like, oh, FX30 now. It just kept happening over and over again. ZVE1, FX30, A6700. Forever. I hate you, Sony. As much as I would love a little firmware update in the zone, it ain't gonna happen, so whatever. Like, it was perfect on day one. It's barely needed to change. I think the only thing we ever got was S-Cinetone. Like, anyone uses that. Imagine filming a red-winged blackbird in S-Cinetone. He would have orange ears. Freaking orange ears. No thank you. In fact, it's been a long time since I've even tried S-Cinetone. Dare we dream it? I'm gonna switch for the rest of the episode. Okay, first let's just realize that that's how dark I had to make it just to not clip the window, and some of it is clipping. I had to turn my light up to 300%. Frickin' just to get an eyelash over here. Highlighting. Now, I'll be the first to admit the HD 240p, it looks like utter trash. And like me asking for HD 480 and to look nicer than this is likely not coming anytime soon, which means I have nothing to look forward to in life. Even though a black wing mating couple is disturbed, they're having a little friendly quarrel about the living arrangements of their situation. I mean, imagine if you were sitting on a branch and your husband jumps on it and say, "Oh, I hope you don't fall off, hun." You tried to do that. That's mating 101 for you. I'm just kind of shocked that no one has beat the Sony A7S III specs yet, except the GH6 if you count manual focus only 300 frames. In a tinier fourth of the size of a sensor. So there's that. But, like, who's doing anything? The only way people are beating these specs are going for the higher resolution, which every movie is shot on an Arri that likely can't even do 4K. It's like a 1080p machine here. It's just beautiful dynamic range and color science is the focus of Arri. And then everyone's like, you want video? Here's 8K. That's a race that a Japanese turtle would lose to a frickin' worm. I was watching a clip the other day and it explained this very thing. I'm going to play it for you and hopefully the copyright gods don't strike me dead.
I think at the moment there's a great pursuit for more pixels, but I think it's at the detriment of dynamic range. And I know that one of the booths here is showing the Dolby high dynamic range comparisons, and they are shooting with double Alexas with a split mirror to achieve different exposures on each camera to extend the dynamic range up to 20 stops now. And so that's exciting to me. That's a particular area that I think will render a better experience for people in the cinema. I'm just unsure of how far we can go with the 6K, 8K kind of progress that people are pushing on us.
So when the Nikon Z8 comes out and it has 8K 60 RAW, look, we're video-centric now. No, you're not. For what? Who's doing that? Who can even play the files? Who can hold them? How big are they? Who needs that in their life? No movie is like, okay, we definitely need 8K for this. That's in our budget. Who has hard drives in 2023? Not me. I find myself much like this female bird waiting on the branch of life for a company to wake up and realize that dynamic range and colors are more important than resolution, and frame rates are fun to be higher. And you're a loser. When your friend was looking at a sunflower and you capture it with a 600mm lens, and then he turns to you for comfort, knowing that it matched his shirt, and then you panic when he sees you and you run away from the scene, that tells you everything you need to know about it. It tells you nothing. You know what sucks about Sony? The one thing, and you probably think it's their strength. That's how dumb you are. Sony lenses don't have 3D pop, and they never will. They're focused on sharpness, corner to corner sharpness, and that's it. That's basically it, and getting the size as small as possible. You never see a tiny element count of like 6 element. Boom. Even their budget gear, it's never focused on the vintage look. So you only have old Zeiss lenses because Zeiss moved on to smartphone making. So like they're done. And Sony is replacing every Zeiss lens. Eventually those will be like underground, hard to find. You'll have to talk to a wet rat to find out what corner Zeiss is hiding in the sewers. Our Earth is dying, my friend. Every new thing that is made is worse than something that already exists. Every new lens that comes out, oh, it's modern, it's sharper. Here's the improvement to what we used to have. Our old Canon L lenses, they were okay, but now look at this. Look how sharp the corners are. It's bigger. It's much more expensive, but look at those corners. When you take an image, who vignettes the corners? Nobody. I mean, you need to see what's up there. Every piece of everything has gotten worse, and us as a society, we're doomed. Unless you turn it around. Black magic. Somebody's bound to do it. Where's the Fairchild sensor? Are they in business still? So as I wait in the shadows for a GoPro 12 with 9 megapixels, 4K 240p, HD 480p, or any other camera to copy a Sony A7S III blueprint but improve upon it, all I can really do is cry and wait. I hate wait crying. It's boring and wet like a rat, and I refuse to do it any longer. So Sony, you lead the industry, and I prefer you over any other brand. I want to say I like Canon Color Science more, but you're so stupid you can't even see someone in glasses if they get eye aids. What kind of shit is that? So we're done with everything. I'm leaving. This was a long, pointless video about nothing. How do you title something like this? Title it for me. Someone work for me making titles for free. The winner of the best title down below gets nothing, but I'll heart your comment. It's Irish linen, by the way. It's not wrinkled. It's designed like that. The sleeves, it's like a pirate thing. I'm gonna go. How you doing? Subscribing for more videos? I'll see you later.